Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Saturday morning practice. We'll be spending the next hour and a half together in what we call the boot camp, and more recently, I call it sanctuary for all of us. And so last week, we practiced breathing exercise. That's one way to explain the word chi, which is written as a combination of air and nutrient. And today we're going to practice chi again, but it's written in a different way, which means no fire. So in this way, it's about the energy in your body, and if you have um, clear passage of this energy, this live energy, then there's no fire, no inflammation in your body. So we're going to be doing this exercise at the very end called the Yi Jing Jing, which is a qigong exercise passed down by Bodhidharma back in the early before even before the Tang Dynasty, which is like 16, 1700 years ago. All right. So to get prepared for that, we're going to do some massage, starting with the fingertips all the way to the toes. We're going to be doing some tapping of these energy points, starting at the top of the head all the way to the bottom of our feet. So let's start with our fingers. Let's start with the left hand. Let's focus on the fingers. Let's focus on the tip of the fingers. So I want you to use the right thumb and just very gently massage the tips of the fingers, the tips of the toes, the head, the ears. These are important energy points. They're called the extremities. There's where the energy flowing out of your body, which we call yang, the influence of the sun. And when they come back, that's called the yin. That would be the absence of the sun. That's where the interchange, all right? The fingers, the extremities. So now that we're done with the fingertips, let's work on the joints. So let's focus one finger at a time. Let's use the right thumb again and just kind of gently massage the joints. And all of us who are, who as we age, we know that our fingers hurts a lot, right? We call that arthritis. Arthritis is a form of inflammation. But so as we massage our fingers, obviously it would help with that. It would help with arthritis. But actually, as it turns out, the fingers are very important. And when you massage the fingers like that, it actually helps with the rest of the body as well. All right, so we're done with the left hand. Let's come to the right hand now, using a thumb and just kind of massage the joints, the front part, the left, the front, the right, all around, working on the palm of the hand. And when we're done, then we flip it over, right? So just very mindfully, right? Focus on the change of your joints, the feel the pain, the numbness, the heat. All right. So now we're done with the center, the palm of the hand. So let's flip it over, and again starting at the fingertips. So this time I want you to use the thumb and the index finger and put it on the two corners of the fingernail and just kind of squeeze it a little bit. Squeeze it a little bit like that. The corners of the nail turn out to be a lot of the starting points of the yang energy lines. Okay. All right, so now we're done with the fingertips. We're going to come back to the joints this time. We work on the back of the hand. Once again, use your thumb, massage. After one finger at a time, one joint at a time, very mindful. So here we don't just do exercise. I mentioned this before. One of my greatest desire is to introduce you to the dimensions of our existence, which is not just material, not just this body. It exists in the form of energy, we call chi. It exists in something outside of our material existence, which we call the mind, not the thinking mind, not the brain. The brain is part of the body. Okay. And the idea is that if you get exposed to that, then you realize that we don't actually exist alone as individuals. We exist together. Okay. All right. So now we're done with the the joints. We're going to work on the knuckle. So I want you to take the left hand and hold it very lightly. Take the right thumb, use the edge of the thumb, put it in between the knuckle, and just kind of massage that. Now, the word for the energy points in Chinese is very interesting. It means cave. It's the same word that we use for the caves. So all these so-called energy points are actually um, uh, indentations, right? So they're in between something. All right. So now I want you to massage the back of the hand in between the bones, in between the finger bones, which are individual until they come together at the wrist. So then when they come together at the wrist, I want you to use the thumb and just feel it. You feel that there are like two dimples in here. So I want you to kind of do some acupressure here. And now we're done with the four fingers. So I want you to come back to the thumb and just massage the thumb individually and massage the thumb. And then there is a part of the thumb, which is, if you think of this like a drumstick, this is the meaty part of the drumstick. I want you to use your right hand form, use the knuckle, and kind of do some acupressure here. Okay. Turns out that this is a very important energy point. Now, same thing, we're going to go the other side now using the left finger, left thumb, using the edge, fit that between the knuckle, and then fit that between the individual finger bones. Massage. And then now find that indentation on the wrist and do some acupressure. Come back and massage the thumb. We use the thumb more than we use any other digit. In fact, if you don't have a thumb, you can't even use your fingers. It's kind of interesting. So now we're going to take the left hand and form that uh, knuckle and just kind of do some acupressure like this. All right, so we're done with the back of the hand. We're done with the front of the hand. We're now in the center of the palm. So at the center of the palm, basically there's an energy point. If you were to follow in between the index finger and the middle finger, and just come in here. This is a very important energy point right here. This is the only one that can give out energy. So I want you to use the thumb and maybe use the knuckle. Use the knuckle. Then I want you to focus on the center of the palm. Imagine there's a circle around it and put the two energy points together and then just kind of rub the hand in that circular fashion, generating some energy. And then I want you to put the right on top of the left and then squeeze the fingers and just kind of massage the palm, the back, the palm of your hand, the back of your hand, and in between the fingers, okay? And then I want you to do the other way. Put the left hand on top of the right hand. Once again, massage the center of the palm, the back of the hand, as well as in between the fingers. Now I want you to take each of the fingers as if you grab each one of the fingers and you just kind of twist it like this. And then the other side, one at a time, one at a time. Okay, and then same thing on the other side. Really, really work on these fingers. Okay, and then I want you to take each of the fingers and just kind of pull it one joint at a time. Pull it. Pull it. Okay, pull it. Okay, so we have two more set of finger exercise. The first one is the famous Qigong exercise that is good as a physical therapy for someone who has suffered stroke, but it's also good for preventing stroke. So since it's a Qigong exercise, I want you to come back to the body first. I want you to stretch that spine. The spine is where all the yang energy travel. Stretch it towards the ceiling, and then I want you to lean back and then relax. Open the shoulder and then relax. Now I want you to take both hands up. I want you to take the thumb and the index finger and squeeze as hard as you can. Then the middle finger and squeeze as hard as you can. And then the ring finger, the squeeze as hard as you can. And then the small fingers, squeeze as hard as you can. It's just that. It's just that. Very simple. Now I want you to take the thumb and put it in the middle of the index finger and squeeze as hard as you can. Middle finger, ring finger, and then the pinky. All right, that's it. That's it. All right. Okay, so that's the first exercise, first finger exercise. The second finger exercise has more to do with the left brain and the right brain, right? So obviously, having my father suffering from dementia and I'm very acute, I'm very sensitive to any information that come out on how or studying dementia, their um, early warning signal and all that. And so one of the article says that, oh, one of the early warning signal for um, dementia is when the person cannot quite manipulate a turn. So if you see them walk, they don't quite know how to turn, and that's very true. That's very true. In fact, it's even earlier than that, that they can't quite walk, right? They walk not in a straight line like that. They have a hard time really balancing the left brain from the right brain. So this next exercise is really about that, and it's also about the fingers. Now, the Chinese believe that the fingers are not just the fingers; they actually represent the five elements. These five elements are the totality of the yin energy. When the sun comes out, it dominates. When the sun is not there, then these five elements would dominate: the water, the vegetation, the fire, the soil, and the mineral. And they also represent the five internal energy. And so it all comes to the fingers as well. So we're going to come back now to the spine. Always pay attention to your spine, stretch, lean back, relax. So we put all the weight upper torso on the spine. Lift up the shoulder, open the shoulder, relax the shoulder. We're going to do this one hand at a time, one finger at a time. So let's lift up our right hand, meaning that we're using a left brain. Let's bring the fingers in one at a time. First the thumb, then two fingers, then the index fingers, and then the little fingers. Let's bring down our right hand, lifting up our left hand using the right side of our thumb. Again, one finger at a time. The thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Let's bring it back up, and we're going to squeeze that as hard as we can, and then bring down the left hand using only the right hand, using only the left side of the brain. We're going to open the fist in the reverse order. Little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Left hand, little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Stretch as hard as you can. Stretch as hard as you can. Now, that's the first one. We're going to do it 3 times. Second time, we're going to do a little faster. Now, thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Left hand, thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Squeeze. Open it in reverse order. Little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Stretch as hard as we can. All right. One last time. Thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Squeeze as hard as we can. In little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Stretch as hard as we can. Now we're going to put the palm together, the fingers together. We're going to push it as hard as we can. And then we're going to sit up straight. And then we're going to lift up our elbow so we're forming a straight line. We keep pushing the center of the palm without separating the center of the palm. We're going to bring down the hands, putting some pressure on the wrist. And now we're going to start tapping. We're going to tap the fingertips, but I want you to be mindful. I want you to think about like playing an instrument. So not only are you feeling your fingers, you're listening to it as well. Get ready? 30 times. Get ready. Go. Okay. Then I want you to cross the fingers. There's energy point at the tip. There's energy point in between the fingers. And I want you to tap that 30 times as well. Okay, now I'm going to tap two very important energy points on the palm of the hand, one along the little fingers, one along the thumb. Now, inside, we're away from the sun, that's yin. There's three energy lines. This one is called the heart. Now, in Chinese, they don't separate the word heart as in the organ or the heart as in the mind. This one is more about the mind. As we age, we tend to, very hard for us to focus. Our mind wanders all the time. And one of the indication of that is that you can't get really good quality sleep. You go to sleep because your body is tired, and then all of a sudden you wake up in the middle of the night, or even if you don't wake up in the morning, or even if you could afford able to sleep through the night, the quality of sleep is not very good. You wake up as if you haven't slept. It's all about this. All right. So we're gonna put the palm together. This energy points right here. It's the opposite of that actually. They have similar name. So you're gonna form a V. So the muscle against the muscle and tap that 30 times. This energy line actually extends from the tip of the fingers all the way to the elbow and all the way into the armpit. Actually, it goes past this part right here. So there's a specialty now in Western medicine that that focuses on muscle loss, and so they're trying to figure out exactly how muscle loss relate to aging. And the Chinese understand that you don't want to lose this muscle, right? So later on, when we do Yi Jing Jing, one of the exercises that we do is actually to for this muscle because it's part of the mind, right? The mind energy line. All right, so now we're going to go from the little fingers to the thumb. The thumb is the energy line that we name after the lung. Once again, you put that together, forming a V, pointing down 30 times. All right. So now the Chinese actually they're very interesting. They actually understand that the relationship between digestive health, which in this case is the small intestine, and the mental health, right? So on the opposite side of the mind meridian is the yang meridian that we name after the small intestine. And so we're going to tap this energy point. You do that by folding your hand. You see this line, and it's just right at your line. So this time I want you to fold your hands flat like this. Roll up your fingers as if you're forming a fist, but don't hold it very tight, just loose, and tap that 30 times. Okay. Now we're going to go to the opposite of that, and which is the yang side of the lung, which we name after the large intestine. So the lung is much more than the organ that allows you to breathe in oxygen. Actually, there's more study now how the lung actually create red blood cell. So it's very much associated with the heart. But in the Chinese, they also think that it's the mineral element. So it's very much associated with the large intestine as well. So as much as you're taking fresh air, you're also exhaling, right? So you're also putting out all your waste. And so the opposite side of that is this thing called the emerging value. It's a very important energy point. So it's just the value right here. All right. Now we're going to do some acupressure. So you take the V, you see the edge of the V, you take the thumb, you see the line, you put that together and you just kind of push in. Now you feel a little numb. And this energy point is quite magical. It's the one that actually reduces pain in your body. And so if you have any kind of pain, neck and whatever, or especially when you have cramp, this is a good way to reduce pain. Now the other side, same thing. Now I want you to tap that energy point using the small intestine. So just put it here like that 30 times. And the other side. Okay. All right. So we're moving away from the fingers now. And so I talk about chi in this case means no fire, no inflammation, no pain. That's what it means. So big part of a pain is carpal tunnel, right? So when we use our fingers a lot, whether you're a sushi chef or you're someone who uses the smartphone or someone who uses the computer, especially the mouse, After a long time, when you don't exercise your fingers, then this part hurts a lot, right? And then it actually goes further up, and then you have frozen shoulder. That also is inflammation. So we're going to be working on that as we move away from the fingers. And so before we do anything, we're going to clear the channel inside of our arm and outside. And once again, there's three energy line here. There's three energy line here. I want you to do some scraping now. So you notice that we've been doing massaging, acupressure, tapping, and now we're going to do some scraping. All right. So I want you to use the knuckle. Start at the elbow. Go to the wrist. First, we do the center line, which is the one that we name after. We call it pericardium, which is really the heart, all the muscles and stuff outside the heart. So we use the scraping tool and start with the elbow. Move down to the wrist. Come back. All right, so that's the center line. Now we're going to move up, and first we're going to identify the bone. And inside the bone is the lung energy line. Then we're going to scrape on the bone. And then on the outside of the bone is the large intestine. And then the center part is something that we call the triple warmer. Now this is kind of interesting. That's the way it was translated in triple warmer. Right? And the back of the hand, the fingers, the thumb, back to the fingers, back of the hand, and then the triple warmer. Outside the bone is the large intestine, and then the bone. And the inside, in the middle, is the pericardium. And then finally is back to the heart again, the mind. And then so we're going to scrape here, right? About 4 inches worth. Then we're going to scrape all the way down to the elbow and back. Okay. Now, interesting that this is called the triple warmer. It's the literal translation from the Chinese word that means focus. All right. Except that it doesn't actually mean focus. There's an older definition of the word because it's written slightly differently. Then you understand that triple warmer basically means triple compartment because the word that was translated into warm, or because it comes from the word focus, actually meant membrane. So they talk about the internal, all the energy that are in here, into three different compartments. Above the membrane, the diaphragm, below the diaphragm, but above the belly button, and then below the belly button. So they think of that as three compartments. So this line actually is the totality of that, right? There's no Western equivalent. All right, the other side, scrape from the elbow all the way to the wrist, back, and then now scrape on the inside of the bone to the wrist and back, scrape on the elbow. Now, some of you actually have a scraping tool, and you can use that. That's fine too. And then the middle, the triple warmer, right? And then the back of the hand, the fingers, the back of the hand, and then scrape. Turn the hands, scrape on the outside of the bone, on top of the bone, inside the bone, and then the middle, and then back to the mind, the heart meridian, all the way to the elbow and back to the wrist. All right. So they'll clear the channels in your arm. Now we're ready to do some finger work. And this one is basically action equal to reaction, right? So action means the energy is traveling out of your body, that's yang. And then the reaction is when the energy coming back. So that's a very good way of clearing your energy channel. And we do that by, once again, stretch your spine, open the shoulder, lean back, and then relax. Now we point all the fingers in front, lock the elbow. We roll up the four fingers. We lock the fingers with the thumb. The four fingers are the spring, so let's wind up the spring. Wind up those four fingers, but hold it down with the thumb. Get ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so this is a very good exercise for carpal tunnel. The reason why this part hurts is because the fingers you have this repetitive problem, repetitive syndrome, and you're not exercising the fingers properly. You keep using it for the same thing. Basically, allows you the inflammation of the fingers blocks the energy, and then it's the pain start to move up, right? And it's very painful. Carpal tunnel is very painful, very annoying, and so sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and your arm just doesn't feel right. It's very you can feel it. It's very hot heat, and so when that happens, you scrape like this, and then during the day you can do this exercise. It really helps, right? It's otherwise if you go to a Western doctor, then they're just gonna put more steroid in your body. Steroid is to reduce inflammation, but then your body's full of steroid already, right? It's just that you develop this resistance to your own steroid, and so exercise uh, basically prevents using these external chemical. All right, so we're going to continue, and this time we're moving from the fingers all the way to the shoulder, right? So sit up straight, lift up the shoulder, open the shoulder, lean back, relax. This energy point here is called the gate to the cloud. Is part of the thumb, part of the lung energy line. All right, so you just have to open that and relax. Now you take your hand, the thumb and the middle fingers are touching. The three other fingers are stretched out. This is called the lotus hand. You put that in front of the gate to the cloud. You open that again, and then the back of the hand is facing the camera. Get ready. One, back of the hand is facing the camera, so you're actually twisting your hand slightly. Come back, lotus hand. Put that in front of the shoulder. Open the shoulder. Lift, sit up straight. Two, come back. Three, come back. Four, come back. Five, six, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? All right. So we work on the fingers. We understand that the fingers are painful when you have arthritis. We work on the arm. We understand that it's painful when you have carpal tunnel. We work on the shoulder. We understand that it's painful when you have frozen shoulder. Sometimes people have pain. Actually, many people have pain in the back. And there's another thing that's called the Barringer hum. It's right here, right? So when you don't exercise regularly, or when you have a improper sitting position, many people, young people, would have a bump right here, and it's not a good idea. It means that the energy is blocked and you cannot travel up to the top of your head. All right, so we're going to learn how to massage the neck, massage the back. And so we're going to take our hands, put it behind us, and we're going to take a thumb and you're just going to search for those two cavities. And it's very easy to find. It's right here. And this is part of the gallbladder energy line. And this one is called the pond of wind. Wind is something you cannot see, cannot smell, cannot taste. So this is how the ancient Chinese explain nerve. And so we're going to use the thumb and just kind of do a little bit of massage, a little bit of massage. And then we're going to use the thumb, not the fingernail, okay? We're going to push down on those cavities. We're going to lean back the neck and really put some pressure on that, as if you're squeezing the rubber hose when you wash your car. Really put some pressure on that. And then we're going to let go, all right? Now we're going to take the right hand, put that on the left cavity, using all four fingers, push down, lean back with your neck, and then we're going to grab the left side of the neck and just kind of pull it to the right, as if you're opening a channel. Same thing on the other side, push down with the fingers first, lean back with the neck, grab the right side and pull it to the left. Now we're going to take the right hand, we're going to put that under the ears, and there's a very important cavity under your ear. It is part of the 8 cavities that we're going to be talking about today. It's called the 8 longevity cavities. So we're going to massage, use your finger, massage below the ear. Then we're going to massage across. Okay, same thing on the other side, just massage below the ear, and you're going to stretch across. And then we're going to put the right hand on top of the ear and just do the same thing. And then now you need to whisper to yourself as you do that. See, relax, relax. relax. And then left hand on the right ear, relax, relax. Now we're going to come back to those cavity. Once again, massage. But then now we're going to move towards the ear on top of the bone. There's two energy point here that if you push some pressure and then also massage, you feel like there's a release of stress when you do that. So if you have a problem sleeping, whether you cannot fall asleep or you can't maintain a good quality, you might want to massage these 2 points. Now we're going to put the thumb on one side and we're going to learn to squeeze the neck like this, right? But when we squeeze the neck, it's not the muscle, it's actually the energy point. So I want you to identify these two cavities as the first set of energy point on your neck. Then you move to the middle of the neck, there's another set. Now these four actually help reduce hyperpressure. Okay, now we're going to go further down. There's another set right here. You're going to bring that together. Now you can just kind of massage the neck. Massage the neck. Okay. All right. So now we're going to massage the neck, and then now we need to learn how to massage the side of the neck. All right. So I want you to use your hand, the edge of the index finger, put that below the ear, and you kind of scrape that. Gently scrape that, and then put that on top of the shoulder. There's a cavity right here. This is called a well on the shoulder. So I want you to do that. Then you reach back and you massage another cavity here. And you come back to the shoulder and you just kind of find the places where there are cavities, and then also uh, wherever you feel that there's pain, just do that. So this kind of massage has a name. It's called the fascia massage. Fascia is myofascia. Myo means muscle. All right. So in this case, it's really just about the connective tissue for the muscle. But of course, chi is beyond that. It's more. It's not just the muscle. It's all the connective tissue. And so you kind of scrape, massage the top, massage the back, right? And then massage. Okay. And when you practice this chi massage or fascia massage, you learn how to identify these cavities very quickly. You can use your thumb and feel it if you want to help someone else. And you can actually, when you locate these cavity, and if the person has a lot of stress or has a lot of blockage, you can actually feel the kinks inside there. And when you squeeze those kinks, the person will say, "Oh, that feels really, really good." Right? So this is something that you can do. So a lot of you come here because you want to be the one who benefit from this technique. I hope some of you come here because you want other people to benefit, especially if you have elderlies at home who are not mobile and the energy level is very low. You need to learn to help them massage. Right? I do that with my clients. All right. So fingers all the way up, all the way to the neck. And now we're going to work on the front. And so come back to the center of your palm again. Put that in a circular motion, generate some heat. The heat is actually infrared, right? You know that, right? Now, after you generate some heat, I want you to form empty hand. And then I want you to put that in front of your eye. Now, I want you to open your eyes and see if there's any light. If there's any light, I want you to move your hand so that it's total darkness. All right? That's how you absorb the infrared. Okay, get ready. First time. This is a self-healing hand. This is you're healing yourself through the eye. Second time. Put that on your eye. Third time. Put that on your eye. Then I want you to massage your face from the forehead to the chin. Then I want you to massage the side. Then I want you to put the center of your palm on top of your temple. Then I want you to massage in between the eyebrow. You notice that there's a lot of stress here. Okay, there's a lot of stress here. And you need to learn to really massage these stress points. Modern people found all kinds of places to hide the stress, and this is one of them. All right, then I want you to massage the forehead Then I want you to massage right here, where the head, that forms that triangle. There's a name for that. Massage it. Then I massage the head, and whisper to yourself, very grateful for your body, especially the brain, right? Go all the way down to the neck, then above the ear, come back to the face, in between your eyes, and then also the fingers. All right. All right. So I mentioned the eight cavities. First one is behind the ear. The second one is the eye, around the eye. So we're going to do some massage around the eye. The eye has eight energy points. Eight. Three of them on the eyebrow, three of them below the eye back, and one right here. Two right here. So it's a total of eight. We're going to learn how to massage those. So let's take index finger, put that in the beginning of the eyebrow, and just kind of massage. As you make this circular motion, you feel that, oh, there's like cavity right here. Then once you find the cavity, I want you to push in with your index finger, not the fingernail now. Just push in with your index finger. Use a little bit of force with your neck, provide some pressure. All right. And then relax, put the fingers in between and just kind of squeeze that eyebrow as if you're squeezing the toothpaste. So not only are you massaging the three energy points, you're actually clearing those oil tubes. So your eyes are not as dry. Okay. Your eye is dry not because you don't have enough eye tears, but because you don't have enough oil. All right. So that's three on top. Let's work on the three on the bottom. So let's take an index finger, put that in the corner of your eye, and just kind of put some pressure on there. All right. And then now use your thumb, go from the corner of your eye to the tail, right below the eye bag. And then the other side. As we age, our eye goes first, right? You know that, right? So we want to do that. All right. So now we're going to do some eye yoga, do some eye exercise. We're going to use the thumb, put that in the corner of the eye, and we're going to push up a little bit. All right. Push up a little bit. Close your eye. Now we're going to rotate the eyeball by first rotating up as if we're looking at the ceiling. Then we're going to rotate it to the right, looking as far as we can. Close your eyes. Then we're going to look down as if you're looking at this floor. Then we're going to look back to the right, left, and back to the ceiling again. So let's start from clockwise, okay? So top, right, down, left. Top, right, down, left. Top, right, down, left. Back to top. We're going to do counterclockwise. Top, left, down, right. Top, left, down, right. Top, left, down, right. And then open your eyes. Very bright, right? Those energy points called a bright eye. All right, take two fingers at the corner of the eye, massage to the corner of the mouth, to the chin. All right, now there's two more energy points, which is right below the eye bag, and you can feel that cavity. Put some pressure on that. Then there's two more outside the nose called the welcome fragrance. So that's for your sinus. And then massage the neck. This is where your body senses the oxygen level in your brain. And if there's not enough oxygen, it would increase the blood pressure, right? So when you have high blood pressure, one of the reasons that you might have high blood pressure is because you don't have enough oxygen in your brain. On the other hand, the doctor gives you high blood pressure medicine to knock it down so you get even less oxygen in your brain. So goes life, right? Okay, so we're going to learn how to massage the ear. Massaging the ears were important. This has a shape of the fetus. So the Chinese believe that this actually represents all your energy points because that's how you get started. But so for each energy points, there's a correspondence in the rest of the body, but it's upside down, just like the fetus upside down, right? So we're going to learn to massage in three compartments, just like the three compartments here. First, the top, we're going to put the thumb on the top, four fingers in the back, and just kind of massage your ear. And if you're doing this first time, you might notice that as you massage your ear, your entire body warms up. Now we're going to put the thumb in the middle and the fingers in the back and massage. Now we're going to put the index finger on the bottom part and the thumb behind the massage. Then we're going to massage the tip and we're going to massage the edge of the ear all the way down to the earlobe, massage the earlobe and yank. Put the thumb behind the ear loop, put the fingers outside the ear channel, and then just gonna massage. Now we're gonna learn to massage the back of the ear, which is good for reducing high blood pressure. And you see that how the ear folds back, and so you start from the top using your thumb, massage all the way to the bottom. Then you're going to use two fingers. One you put that on the ear, one you put that on the skull. You're going to massage the top to the bottom. Same thing on the right. Massage that fold from the top to the bottom. Use two fingers. And then we're going to do one more, which is called drumming the ear, drumming. So we're going to use two hands, put that behind the ear. We're going to push down the ear, stretch the ear, and then 1, 2, 3. Okay, all right. So now we get to the top of the head, right? We are going to do some tapping and massaging from the top of the head all the way to the bottom of the feet. First, we're going to use the fingers and just kind of massage the head, massage the skull, the back of the skull, and then back again. All right, so now we're going to use 10 fingers, put that on top of the head. But before we do that, we're going to align this energy point. This is called the 100 meet, where all the yang energy come together. Yang energy comes from your back. So let's stretch our back, lift up our shoulder, lean back, open the shoulder, and then relax. Let's lean back the forehead, tuck in the chin. So the top of the head, the 100 meet, is above the central nervous system. Then we take the fingers, put that on top. We're going to tap that 30 times. Do it as if you're playing an instrument. Listen and feel it at the same time. Get ready? Go. Now we're going to learn to massage our head, energize the skull using the fingertip. Remember, the fingertips are the 10 energy point. All right, so we're not scraping it with a finger. We're actually going to massage it with the tip of the fingers. 2, and then 3. Put that above the ear. 1, 2, and then 3. We're going to keep moving until we get to the bottom of the feet. So the next one is the shoulder and also in front, right? Remember these two energy points? So let's sit up straight, open the shoulder, lean back, relax. Turn the head to the right, bring out the right hand, empty hand, fingers on top, palm in front. Listen with the left ear. Remember now, we do this as if you're playing an instrument, okay? We are basically causing a vibration in your body by using the cavity. So we're actually pushing air, right? Get ready? We're not hitting it. We're just bouncing on it, right? Get ready? Go. Continue. Now we come to the right, so we turn our head to the left hand, empty hand, put that on the right shoulder. Listen with the right ear. Get ready? Wake up. Continue. Okay, so I mentioned there are 8 cavities that we call the 8 cavities of longevity. One is behind the ear, second is around the eye. Now we're going to work on the other 3. There are 5 in the upper torso. One is in the elbow. So we're going to learn to massage the elbow by using this part of the thumb, right? Remember that? This is an important energy point. So we're doing 2 things at once. We're going to take that and just going to massage. And when we massage, it's not just the elbow, but the 3 points of the elbow. The middle, and then on the other side. Just massage like this. And then on the other side, using this part again, massage. Now to the armpit, massage with right here, okay? And then the other side. So that's 4, right? That's 4. That's ear, behind the ear, the eye, the elbow, and the armpit. One more, the belly button. And while we at it, we're going to increase the size of a circle to massage the large intestine clockwise. Okay, clockwise. Okay, now we're going to come back and do more tapping and come back to the armpit. Remember, I talked about the mind meridian or the heart meridian, and it's travel along here. I remember I talk about how important this muscle is. So we're going to stretch this muscle. We do that by taking the left elbow, put that on top of the head, sit up straight. Now you're stretching this, right? Then we're going to pinch the upper part of our ear and turn that head to the right hand, empty hand, put that on the left armpit. We're going to tap it as if we are energizing it, right? Okay, make sure you have empty hand, huh? Get ready, go. Continue. No, the other side, take the right elbow, put that on top of the head, sit up straight, don't like pinch the left ear, turn your head to the left hand, empty hand, right ear, get ready, wake up, continue. Okay, all right, so last one is the arm, the elbow. So lock your elbow, use your empty hand, fingers on top, palm on the side, lift up so that the palm is at eye level. Turn the head to the right, listen with the left ear, get ready, empty hand, get, remember now, empty hand, okay? Get ready, go. Continue. Okay, now the other side, lock your elbow, palm at eye level, left hand, empty hand, wrap it around your elbow. Get ready, right ear, listen, go. Continue. Okay, all right. Okay, so now that's all that for the upper torso. So now we're going to move to the lower part. The upper part has more to do with the lung and and the heart. The lower part has more to do with metabolic. So many of you who have high blood pressure tend to start with your anxiety. Anxiety. So that's more in the lower part. Okay. And some of you have high blood pressure because your heart is not working properly. Turns out that that's in my mom's case, it's the left valve that has been swelling. And but unfortunately, the doctor doesn't pay attention to that, and all they care about is to lower your blood pressure without really finding out the problem. All right. So anyway, as much as there's the inside the arm and outside the arm, there's the inside of your lower part of the body, and then there's outside. Outside is both on the side, the front, and the back. So those are yang. So let's work on the inside first. The inside, above the knee, is where those two energy lines, one named after the splint, and then one named after the liver travel. So first, we're gonna locate the knee. We're going to measure about 3 fingers from the knee. Inside, there's an energy point here that is known to help with lowering your cholesterol. Now, high cholesterol is also inflammation, right? Cholesterol is your body's way of healing those inflammation. So again, high cholesterol is just a symptom. It's not the disease. All right. So now we're going to use the empty fist. So don't lock it tight. Just you can either just put your thumb on the side, or you put the thumb inside. Right. Just don't lock it tight. Okay, we're going to tap this energy point 30 times as if you're bouncing on it. You ready? Go. And then further in, that's the liver. And now that's the inside, that's the yin. Now we're going to go to the outside. The yang side of the liver is the gallbladder, which that's what we name it. It's not the organ necessary. It's just that's an energy point. And so we're going to take the outside and divide it into three parts or two energy points, and then and those are known to reduce your chance of having a stroke. And once again, using your soft fist, empty fist, get ready, just bounce on it. Okay, go. Second one. Okay, now there was two above the knee, there's three below the knee on the same energy line. So the first one I'm going to do is just right underneath the knee. So you'll take the fingers, slide up, and then can't go any further. That's the one. All right, get ready, go. Okay, all right, so we'll continue. All right, so we continue to the middle. Okay, now we're going to go further down, but how further down? Well, you go all the way to the ankle, you measure four fingers up, and it's right there. Get ready, go. Okay, so that's the yang energy line that we name after the gallbladder. And then there's a yang energy line that we name after the stomach. Now, this next energy point is very famous for improving your digestion. So you got to come back to the knee first. You measure four fingers, you locate the bone, you close your knee, and then the energy point is right outside of the bone. So when you tap that, it's front and back and not on the bone. Okay, you ready? Go. Okay, now you measure four fingers down, locate the bone. Once again, it's on the outside the bone. You close your knee. Now this one is part of the stomach meridian, but is known for reducing your cholesterol. Get ready? Go. Okay, all right. So now finally we get to the toes, right? Just like we started with the fingers, we're gonna end with the toes. All right. So I want you to take the big toe and the second toe, open it so you find this in between the bones, and put the edge of your thumb in there and just kind of massage. Now you notice that when the bones before they join together, there's a place you can do some acupressure, and there's a parallel between that energy point and the one in between your thumb. Those four energy points are known to reduce high blood pressure. They're very famous. And this one is part of the liver. And the liver line, energy line six, is energized somewhere between 1 o'clock. It's between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock. So very often when people uh, after the body rests, the mind wakes up, and And the mind wakes up because of the stress hormone in the body, right? All right, so now you massage that one. So you take your thumb, you push it back like this. You see this tendon, and so this is called the longevity tendon. You use your scraping tool, you scrape that tendon, and then you relax. You scrape the bottom of your feet, you scrape the heel, you come back, you scrape the ball area, and now you massage the toes the same way we massage our fingers. You first massage the tip of the toes, then you take your finger, you put that in between the toes, each and every one of them. Then you scrape the arch. The arches turn out to be very important. Half of it is the splint, half of it is your kidney energy line. So you scrape from the bone area all the way to the heel. Then you come back and you locate your ankle, you locate your knee, you locate the bone, and you scrape right below the bone. This is your splint energy line. Splint energy line is very important. Okay, that's the earth element, right? And so, as in the soil, when you gardening, it does two things. It does transportation and transformation, right? So the splint helps with the digestion, but it also helps with returning water. So if you have any swelling in your body, that's the part you want to scrape. Okay, so there's two more energy line point. One is when you come back to the ankle, you measure four fingers, you locate the bone, and it's right below the bone. You do some acupressure here. This is called the triple yin. This is where all three energy lines come together. Then you locate your ankle. You go towards Achilles heel. There's a cavity right here. You do some acupressure. This is good for um, in case you're diabetic. And then finally, most importantly, is the bottom of your feet. This is the gushing spring. And so people who live long, they talk about the five blue zones. They tend to be people who continue to work after they retire. And when they continue to work, then meaning that the bottom of your feet is always touching the ground, especially when you do gardening. So that's why people say that gardening is very good for you. And because you're touching the ground, you're letting the earth energy come through your body, right? All right, so we're going to learn to massage that. First, we'll come back to our good old friend and just use the meaty part of the thumb to massage. This is one of the eight cavities. Remember, there's three on the lower part of the body. This is the one. And then massage that, and then do some acupressure right below the ball area. And then finally, we're going to tap it by turning the thumbs back, the toes back, forming the empty hand. And when you put it together, then one is fire and one is water. Okay, get ready? Go. Continue. This is a very famous longevity technique for mixing the water and fire. Mixing the water and fire means that you're balancing the energy in your body. The water tend to be below the belly button. The fire is definitely above the diaphragm. And so it's the mixing of the energy. And this is introduced by a very famous doctor in the Tang Dynasty. Right? Okay, so quickly on the right, there's some outer pressure. Turn it upside down, bend the toes backwards, scrape on the longevity tendon, relax, scrape on the bottom of the feet, scrape on the heel, scrape on the ball area, massage the toes, both the tip of the toes and in between the toes, scrape the arch area, scrape below the bone all the way to the heel, and then scrape between your ankle and the knee, right below the bone. Acupressure at the three end but four fingers up. Acupressure in the back of the ankle. And then finally, massage the bottom of your feet using your palm, especially the part below the thumb. Do some acupressure and then mixing the water and fire. Bend the toes backward, form empty hand. Get ready, go. Continue. Okay, all right, so ready for the floor exercise now. The reason I clipped the mic here is because when I jump, I don't want it to fall off, right? All right, okay. Okay, so we have two more cavities. First one is besides the one on the bottom of the feet, the next one is behind the knee. And this one actually is part of the bladder energy line. Bladder is the yang side, the kidneys on the inside. So this is ultimately the one that helps with your kidney. So let's massage your kidney. We stand up straight. We take the hands all the way down. We're loosening up our knee, four fingers behind, thumbs on the side. We look straight ahead 30 times. Continue. And you will find that most of these so-called eight cavity, longevity cavity has a lot to do with the lymphatic system. But in the ancient Chinese, they don't have that concept. But they know that it's good for your health. They know that it's good for longevity. And the next one, the last one, is very obvious. There's nothing here except your lymphatic. And so we're going to vibrate it by putting the fist on top, in front, 30 times. Okay, now we're ready for Yi Jing Jing. Okay, now Yi Jing Jing basically comes in 14 forms, dealing with 12 meridians plus the two primary vessels. And it combines, in modern terms, it combines all three important exercises for longevity. One is stretching, two is cardio, and then finally is muscle building. Okay, now this exercise was meant for the abbot of the Shaolin Temple. And when they go into seclusion, they usually go for 3 years. And they lock themselves in the room. There's no bigger than basically 10 feet by 10 feet. And in that room, they have to maintain both the mental and the physical health. And so this exercise combines all that. First, you're going to firmly plant the bottom of your feet on the ground, meaning that you're touching the earth with your gushing spring, right? Remember that energy point. Then you're going to turn your toes inward and you're going to bend your knees slightly, energizing this energy point at the calf. And I forgot to do that one, but that's okay. And the calf is known to be important for preventing dementia. Yes, that's a UCSF study. Then you're going to open that shoulder and relax the shoulder, placing the well on your shoulder on top of the gushing spring. Then you're going to lean back the forehead, tucking the chin, so the 100 meet where all the yang energy come together is facing the sun. There's an opposite of that. It's called the yin meet, which is between your reproductive organ and your bowel. Right there is where all the yang energy meets. And so it's as if you're lining those two energy points in a straight line, which is in the bottom, in the middle of the core. Then you're going to take your hand and you come back to the center of your palm, which is the only energy point that puts out energy. And you're going to bend your 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 elbow back as if you're placing those energy points on the side of that line. Okay, not in front, not in back. And the idea is that you send a shock wave through that core. It goes all the way to the top of your head and come back. Now, the way to do that is that you put your mind on your center of your palm. So it's as if you close your eye, it's as if you're putting all your attention at the center of your palm, and you push it not just with your body, but with your mind. Okay? Now, so I'm going to say go. That's not for you to just go, that's for you to prepare your mind so that it's mind, body together. That is the true meaning of yoga. Okay? Get ready? Go. And back to the breath. We need to maintain the harmony between the yang. Yang is under the sun, that's masculine, that's energetic, that's sympathetic, that is fight or flight. We're going to maintain the balance between the yang and the yin. The yin is your rest and digest. So this is where we come back to the breath. We empty our mind with all the other thinking and just focus on the breath. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. So then after two breaths, then you come back to the second time. Again, align your body and you say, go. Come back to the breath. It's very important. And one of the things that you know that you maintain that harmony between yang and yin is after two breaths, you check to see if you have saliva inside your mouth. Because when you're in the flight or flight, it turns off your saliva. The only way that you can be sure that you return to rest and digest is after two breaths, you feel the wetness inside your mouth. One last time, go. Come back to the breath. Very important to maintain that harmony. The next one is called pointing. So now your focus goes from your palm to your thumb. You take the thumb and you point it around your hip. You don't touch, you just form that semicircular energy loop. Then you take your four fingers, you rub your four fingers. Now it's as if you hang two buckets of water on your thumb and you lift up those two buckets of water. Bring up your bend your thumb as hard as you can, and then you relax without lowering your hand back to the breath. After two breaths, second time, come back to the breath. One last time, come back to the breath. Lower your hand this time, completely relax. Then the next one is called beginner's mind. Now, again, the word mind means heart, means center. It's actually back to the center of your palm. You take your thumb, you put it across, you take your four fingers. This is how the baby holds the hand. That's why we call it beginner's mind. And you squeeze your fist as hard as you can. You squeeze as hard as you can, and then you open your hands without lowering them. Back to your breath. Second time, squeeze as hard as you can, and then relax without lowering your hand. Back to the breath. One last time, and then relax. Lower your hand. Completely relax. Now you take a deep breath. You put in your fists together. Put that in the belly at the belly button, and you take a deep breath. And then you relax. Now you bring your elbows together. You focus on your back, and you stretch the back, and then relax. Back to the breath. Second time, back to the breath. Relax. Okay, so you need to cycle between the energetic, the restorative. Okay, one last time, and then back to the breath. Okay, now you lift up your fist. So this is called the fist above the head. You open your shoulder, you open your fingers. Now this is very cardio. You're actually working hard on your heart when you do this. So you roll up your fingers, one joint, two joint, you lock it with your thumb, and you squeeze as if you're squeezing all the blood into your heart. And then you open your hands and relax. Let the blood come back to the fingertip. After two breaths, second time, and then relax. One last time, and then relax. Okay. The next one is called stabbing the shoulder. It's actually exercise in the back of the neck. And so you open your shoulder, you grab, it's as if you're grabbing two daggers. You point the daggers on the shoulder, okay, but you have to open your shoulder. And you stab your shoulder. You feel the tightness in the back of the neck. And then you relax, open the fingers. You feel the energy rushing up your back of your neck to the top of your head. Second time, stab, 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 and then relax. One last time, stab, 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 and then relax. Now, the next one's called a cross. It's just a stretch to triple warmer. So you make a cross. Now, just make sure that you don't punch, but rather you think of like two trees on the side. You're already touching the tree. And so you open your shoulder like this. You first rotate your wrist. Then you roll up your fist. You take a deep breath and you push. And then you relax. Second time. And you push, stretch the upper arm. And then you relax. Back to the breath. Check the sliver, okay? Check the inside mouth. Okay, one last time. And you push and relax. After two breaths, you do the same thing. It's called the front hanging. So it's like you're hanging close on your arm, so you don't have to lock your elbow. Okay, so don't do like this. Lock your elbow. Once again, the tree is in front, so you rotate your wrist, you roll up your wrist, you take a deep breath and you push, and then you relax. Second time, you push, and then you relax. One last time, and then you relax. Okay, all right, so now we're talking the muscle, especially this muscle right here. Remember, so I said it's very important. So this is like doing chin up. So you look up, you see this bar, you grab onto the bar, and you pull yourself up using that muscle, and then you relax. Second time, and then you relax. Now, when you relax, you have to be completely relaxed. You just focus on your breath, nothing else, okay? One last time, and then relax. Then you continue. This time we're doing the muscle right here. All it has to do with the head, the heart, and the lung. I call this ripping the yellow page. You grab the yellow page and you rip the sucker up and then relax. I hope most of you know what a yellow page is, huh? You grab it, you rip the sucker, and then relax. One last time, and then relax. All right. So now we come to the final part. The next exercise is swallow. Pick up your saliva and you swallow. And then you make sure that your legs are bent. You're not standing, you're not locking the knee. Then the back of the hand touching, you straighten up your back. You bend your back without locking your knee. The knee has to be loose. Now you look straight down, back of the hand touching. You squeeze your fist one time, relax. Squeeze the fist second time, relax. And then one last time. and relax. This comes now into your favorite part. You roll, you rotate your hand, you focus on the center of your palm. Okay, now make sure you don't stand up, all right? Okay, take a deep breath, exhale, take a deep breath, look at that big rock in front and push. Take a deep breath, relax. You're going to sit for 3 minutes to make sure we restore our healing power. When you do energetic exercise, that's when you enter into fight or flight. That's when you want to pump your stress hormone, especially cortisol, which is a form of natural steroid. That's when you want to heal your body. Okay. But you need to maintain the harmony by spending equal time on the rest and digest because you want to restore the sensitivity. If you are always in the energetic, pretty soon you lose the sensitivity. Now you have to pump steroid from the outside. So here we're just going to spend 3 minutes to restore that harmony, and then we're going to do some meditation. Okay. Okay. All right. So now that we have kind of restored the balance in the body, restored the harmony between the yin and yang, we're ready to do some sitting meditation. This technique is very old. It's ancient Chinese meditative technique for longevity. It's called the microcosmic orbit. Okay. All right. So Rosemary asked, "What is this technique called?" That I assume that was the exercise we did. It's called Yi Jing Jing, YJJ. Okay, so ask that question again in our group, and I'll give you more information. And then she also asked, what does that do? The underarm tap and the pitch ear. The underarm tap is the important energy point here for the mind, or what's for the heart. It's I mentioned as we get older, we are not as focused. Our mind is not as strong. One indication is that your quality of sleep is not very good. You're not able to restore um, your neurological health. So we tap this energy point. Now the ear, remember I talked about how it's upside down. So this energy point is very similar to this energy point. This one has to do with the mind. This one has to do with the kidney. All right. Okay. All right. So now, just one point of reference. So a lot of people say, "Oh, but that's not scientific." Well, it depends on your definition of science. It's not experimental scientific, right? We'll wait for the Western scientists to do that. They do everything by experiment. But this is the ancient science. This is the experiential science. You experience it because you meditate to a very high level, and you actually can see the energy flowing in and out of your body because you manage to detach yourself from your materiality. This is what meditation is about. At the same time, you pass that knowledge down as experience. So it's equally scientific, just different definition. Okay. And so I think it's important to understand why we do what we do. But more than that, it's actually more important that you allow yourself to experience it. And you can't just come here for one class and think that you can experience it. It takes practice, especially this next part called the microcosmic orbit. The first part of that is just to energize your lower abdomen, what we call the Dan Ten. Dan means fire. Back in the days, the Chinese actually used the word Dan to mean a pill. So in that case, the Taoists were alchemists. But when they start to learn meditation, when they start to absorb the yogic technique, Bodhidharma was a yogi, right? Then they go from external Dan to internal Dan. They start to see the fire within them. And so the first one is mindful of your breath to cultivate the chi. So we do that by just focusing on our belly button. And as we breathe in, we open the belly button, we move the belly button forward. And as we breathe out, we move the belly button back. Now, this exercise by itself is already demonstrated to be extremely helpful to reduce inflammation in your body. And the study was done as a way to reduce your chance of having dementia. Dementia is inflammation on your brain. And so they did a great study, and they find that people who learn how to do this abdominal breathing, they can actually create the balance between their autonomous nerve system, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. They measure this by measuring what is called the heart rate variability. As you breathe in, you move your stomach forward, you increase your heart rate. As you breathe out, you move your belly button forward back, you reduce your heart rate because one is energetic and one is restorative. That difference is called HRV, and they're able to correlate that with a chemical in the brain that tells them that whether the person has a better chance of developing dementia or not. So this was a great discovery. But this is just a minor step in our longevity practice by practicing using a diaphragm and a stomach to breathe. So let's sit for 3 minutes, just practicing on that. Okay, so I talk about the health benefit of just abdominal breathing. Okay, and last week and then next week we're gonna do more of abdominal breathing. It's very important part of your health regimen. It's not just for your physical health, but it's also for your neurological health. One of the side effects of this exercise, moving the stomach back and forth like this, is that you're moving the diaphragm. It's actually massaging on your small intestines, which creates static electricity because the intestines are piezoelectric. And now, to get into this technique called the microcosmic orbit, we're learning how to cycle those electricities through a spine. And if you have static electricities, you want the electricity to move, you need to provide a electrical potential. You actually do that with the membrane between your left brain and right brain. This is something that the scientists are starting to understand about this technique. And so the first thing you have to do is you have to stretch your spine, because when you stretch your spine, you lower the resistance on your spine. Okay? Then you lean back. You lean back because you won't want to use the muscle. You're creating less resistance in your body. You open your shoulder and then you relax. You lean back the forehead, you tuck in your chin. You focus on your breath once again. You notice that when you breathe in naturally, your stomach opens naturally. You notice that when you breathe out naturally, your stomach collapses slightly naturally. So you maintain that feeling, maintain that focus. But now you put your mind on the very bottom of your spine. As soon as you know that you're breathing in, you move up the spine, you stretch your spine upward, you get all the way to the top of the head. And when you know that you're breathing out, you come down through the forehead to the bridge of your nose. Your tongue, the tip of the tongue needs to be touching the roof of your mouth where the teeth meets the roof of your mouth to connect it with this electrical path. You let that come all the way back down to the stomach. You breathe in, you move up, you breathe out, you move down. Now, I'm not able to share that picture with you on the Inside Timer, but if you tune into the YouTube and and the Facebook video, you will see this. This is the picture that I've been using for my Chinese student. It's a very common picture, and this is describes what's called a microcosmic orbit as you cycle the chi to the top of the head and you come down. So essentially, you're not exercising just the diaphragm, but you're exercising even a more important diaphragm membrane, which is between the left brain and the right brain. This one is called the microcosmic orbit. Now, eventually, when you focus on this, after a while, you feel that the energy is actually rising on its own. That's when we switch and call it the wandering dragon chasing the pearl. That's when you need to relax your brain. You enter a stage called no thinking. You're just feeling it without thinking it, without judging it. And you're just following that energy called the pearl. Your mind is the dragon. The dragon is free. Okay? All right, so let's just sit for 5 minutes in the class, okay? You need to practice this on your own. Okay, open your eyes. So before I leave, I want to answer this question, which is, can you please repeat what you said about high blood pressure slash medication and when it is high and lowering the blood pressure? Okay, so this is, we all have that problem. We go to the doctor, they measure your blood pressure, and if you're below 140 over 80, you're good. If you're 141 over 81, he says, well, you need to take high blood pressure medicine. That's very common, right? It's either high blood pressure or hypertension, either way, just one is fancy a term for the other. 95% of the hypertension case are deemed um, essential hypertension, meaning the doctor doesn't know why. The idea, the doctor doesn't know why he has this and doesn't really care. I tell you some personal experience with high blood pressure. I would go to my doctor. I see him, 4 times a year, 3 times on the camera, and then one time because I have diabetic. I'll talk about that in the past. It's not most people have diabetic as a lifestyle. I have diabetic as a particular operation I had. Any case, when I finally see him in his office, he measured my my blood pressure, and I said, "Well, how is it?" Well, he said, "It's very good. You meditate, right?" I said, "Yeah." Okay, so the doctor knows that when you meditate, you don't have high blood pressure problem, but yet they don't recommend that as a cure. But instead, they just want to pump you with chemical, just forcefully lower the high blood pressure without even asking why. That's a problem. So most of us have high blood pressure because we're under stress. We have too much stress hormone. Most of us, right? So instead of telling you to change your lifestyle, change your diet to lower their high blood pressure to try to fix the problem, they don't. They push the medicine. So a personal story: my mom has high blood pressure, just like most women, and she takes high blood pressure medicine for more than 30 years, right? She's 88 right now. About a few years back, she developed this cough, and she goes to the doctor. The doctor give her antibiotic. She goes to the doctor again. They give you antibiotic. One time I was traveling. I came home, and I just happened to open up the log to see my mom's medication. I noticed that there was antibiotic again. So I said, "What happened?" She said, "Oh, when you were gone, I was coughing. So your brother took me to the doctor, and the doctor gave me 2 weeks of antibiotic." I said, "Well, you don't need that much antibiotic." So I started to search, and it turns out that for Asian women, in this particular kind of high blood pressure medicine, because they continue to shrink their throat, it will get to a point where they will start coughing like that. And in fact, my mom always had problems swallowing because of that medicine. So I went to the doctor and said, "Hey, it's don't give my mom antibiotic anymore because that's not what causing her coughing." And he said, "Yeah, it does happen." "What do you mean it does happen? You don't know? You know, right?" He said, "Well, okay. Well, so we're going to change medicine now." And so for about 3 years, we experiment with different high blood pressure. And it just kills me, right? Because I know it's not fixing the problem. But, that's how doctor works, unless you don't go to the doctor. But every doctor you go, doesn't matter which doctor. You go, they measure your high blood pressure medicine. I mean, high blood pressure. And they say, "Oh, your blood pressure is high," right? So they will give you medicine for that. They don't even care about the other stuff. And so my mom was changing medicine. One causes swelling, one causes, and all that. Everyone has a side effect. And finally, she got to one where it seems to be working, but not strong enough. So she was giving, in addition, diuretic to just pee out the water, and that was really bad, right? So I just that doesn't make sense to me. So fortunately for us, we finally found a cardiologist who was willing to listen And it turns out that she has a swollen left valve. So the reason that she was having high blood pressure was because her heart was not working. And so, to compensate, the body would increase the blood pressure, but that was never, no one even cared. No one even cared. Now, the question is, when does that stop? How come, all of a sudden she has the problem? Well, most of us started with stress. We're under stress. We don't know how to relieve the stress. So our body's full of stress hormones. So no wonder the pressure is high. Okay? No wonder the pressure is high. And so to truly deal with the high blood pressure problem, unless you have a heart problem, if it's about your anxiety, then you need to reduce your anxiety. You need to find a way to balance the yin and the yang. You need to find a way to return yourself to the rest digest, just like our ancestors did back millions of years ago when they used to live in the cave. That's when they were in rest and digest. And then when they are outside under the sun, they are in fight or flight. As soon as they're done hunting, they come back and they restore them. One indication that you are under too much stress and you need to do something about it is when you don't have any saliva. If you look up your autonomous nervous system and you look up what it does to your body when you're either in rest and digest or fight or flight, the first thing it does when you're in fight or flight is you turn off your saliva gland because you don't need digestion, you don't need reproductions, you don't need immunity when you're being chased by a lion. Okay? Don't rely on the doctor, whether it's Western or Eastern, to heal you. They do what they do. They do what they do. But your health is your own responsibility. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Just find yourself some time to relax, listen to the music, relax. The only difference is that, as I mentioned, there was a study. They put 200 people on one side and 200 people on the other side. 200 people were just taught to relax, listen to the music, or whatever. The other 200 people, they were taught to do abdominal breathing. And that study was a phenomenal study. And they find that the people who learn to do abdominal breathing, they have an improvement on the heart rate variability, which means that they restore the harmony between the autonomous system. They're able to go back and forth between the rest and digest and the fight or flight. They restore the sensitivity to their own stress hormone, and they reduce inflammation in the brain, and the chance of having dementia has been demonstrated to be lower. It's just that. Okay. All right. Now, I can talk about um, cholesterol too. Cholesterol itself is a symptom, right? Cholesterol is a symptom too. High cholesterol is a symptom. High cholesterol is when your blood vessel inflamed and your body is desperately trying to heal that inflammation. So it does that by using cholesterol. The same way that if I have a crack on the wall, I get some plaster and just put on it. Make sure that the house doesn't fall down. Your body is repairing your vessel with the only thing that it knows, which is cholesterol. And if you artificially just remove the cholesterol in your body, guess what? 80% of your brain is cholesterol. 85% of the cholesterol is generated by your body, not by consumption. So it doesn't matter if you throw away the egg yolk, which contains cholesterol, because you have to eat like 28 eggs a day just for the amount to be the same as the amount of cholesterol you generate on your own. I read an article about a medical student who decided to demonstrate that egg is not responsible for cholesterol. He ate 200 eggs a day, nothing else. And after 3 months, his cholesterol went down. Why? Because he was eating good quality egg, and so his body doesn't inflame. All right. Okay, enough of that. I can go on and on. Okay. Okay. Thank you for all your support. Be good. Take care. Okay. Bye bye. 星期一見嚇。
多謝。
OK，媽媽呢幾日唔舒服啊，下個禮
係啊，我
拜啦。
就想問你媽媽點樣
？OK 啦，OK 啦，我星期一同大家解釋下嚇。OK
哦，
冇事啦嚇。OK，拜拜。
然後佢
OK，多謝。
Thank you，拜拜。